You just received an email from Amazon saying your account has been suspended under Section 3. Your listings are down, your inventory is frozen, and you're not entirely sure what triggered that. Stay with me for the next few minutes. I'll explain what Section 3 actually means, why Amazon issued it so broadly, and what you need to do in order to recover. I'm Asaf from Kabili & Co, and we represent Amazon sellers in suspensions and enforcement matters. And over the years, we've handled a large number of Section 3 cases. What I'm about to share comes directly from experience and from patterns we consistently see in successful and failed appeals. So here's what we'll cover. First, what Section 3 really is. Second thing is the most common triggers. Third are the practical steps to recover. And finally, how to reduce the risk going forward. And one important note, once you understand why you were suspended, the next step is building the right plan of action. If that document is poorly structured, your appeal is far more likely to be rejected. After this video, watch our detailed guide on how to write a proper plan of action. I'll link it below. Let's start with what Section 3 actually means. So Section 3 refers to a clause in Amazon's business solution agreement. That agreement is the contract you accept when you open a seller account. Section 3 gives Amazon the right to suspend or terminate selling privileges at their discretion when they believe a seller has violated policies or created risk within the marketplace. Now, here's what makes it frustrating. Section 3 is extremely broad. Amazon often cites it as a legal basis for almost any account level enforcement. You'll see language referencing policies like unsuitable inventory investigation, seller code of conduct, deceptive practices, or other compliance concerns. Sometimes the notice is specific, other times it's just vague. The important point is this. Section 3 is not the violation itself. It's the legal mechanism Amazon uses to enforce its policies. So the real question is, what triggered it? So these are the most common Section 3 triggers. Based on the cases we've handled most often, here are the frequent causes. First, authenticity and supply chain documentation issues. If Amazon receives complaints suggesting product may be inauthentic, they often suspend first and investigate later. Even legitimate inventory can become a problem if invoices or authorization letters don't meet Amazon's formatting or traceability standards. Second, restricted or regulated products. Some categories require prior approval, specific certifications, or compliant labeling. Listing regulated product without proper authorization can lead to immediate enforcement. Third, intellectual property complaints. Multiple unresolved trademark, copyright, or patent complaints can escalate to an account level suspension. This includes complaints submitted by rights owner and in some cases suspected violation identified by Amazon. Fourth is review manipulation or marketplace abuse. Offering incentives for reviews using third-party review services, directing buyers to change or remove reviews, or engaging in coordinated activity to influence ranking can result in suspension. Amazon does allow compliant review requests through approved channels, but anything that manipulates outcomes is a high risk. Fifth, verification and identity issues. If your business information, tax records, or identity documents do not match exactly, or if verification attempts repeatedly fail, Amazon may suspend the account pending clarification. Sixth, related accounts. If Amazon system links your account to another suspended account, even incorrectly, your account may be deactivated under Section 3. The key takeaway, Section 3 covers a wide range of enforcement scenarios. You need to identify the actual operational issue behind it. So, how do we recover from a Section 3 suspension? The first step, read your suspension notice carefully. Check performance notification in Seller Central. Look for references to specific ASINs, policies, or complaint categories. Sometimes the trigger is clear, sometimes it requires internal review. Look at the recent authenticity complaints, IP notices, listing changes, supplier changes, or account updates. Once you understand the issue, the next step is building your plan of action. Now, your plan of action should contain 3 parts: root cause, immediate corrective action, and preventative measures. Root cause means identify the operational failure, not repeating Amazon's wording. Explain what was wrong in your internal process. Corrective action means what you have already done. removed listing, audited inventory, replaced suppliers, updated compliance checks, completed actions, not future intentions. Preventative measure means structural change, new review procedures, documented compliance steps, suppliers vetting protocols, clear accountability inside your team. Now, keep it clear and professional, usually under 2 pages. Avoid emotional language, focus on the facts and process improvement. Next, gather supporting documentation. Depending on the issue, this could include invoices, authorization letters, compliance certificates, business registration documents, or written confirmation resolving IP complaints. Documents should directly address the issue. Organized, easy to read, relevant. Then submit your appeal through Seller Central under performance notifications. In many cases, Amazon responds within several days, though timelines vary depending on the complexity. One important point: do not submit multiple overlapping appeals. Repeated submissions in a short period can slow down the review. Now, if your appeal is denied, do not simply resubmit the same document. Review Amazon's response carefully and adjust your plan of action to address what was missing. Now, how do we reduce the risk for future Section 3 suspensions? Preventing is always easier than recovery. You need to maintain clean documentations from day one. Supplier invoices should clearly show your business name, supplier details, product descriptions, quantities, dates. Keep them organized and accessible. Make sure you source from a reliable, verifiable suppliers. If you cannot trace your supply chain clearly, your risk goes up. Before listing products in a sensitive category such as health, children's products, supplements, or electronics, confirm regulatory compliance and require approvals. IP complaints should be addressed immediately. Even if you stop selling the product, unresolved complaints can accumulate. You need to follow Amazon's review policy strictly. Use only compliant review request methods within Amazon's system. Avoid incentives or third-party manipulation service entirely. You need to keep your account information accurate and consistent. Bank details, business information, and tax records must match exactly. And of course, you need to monitor your account health dashboard regularly. Early warnings often appear before full suspensions. Many first-time suspensions with clear documentations can be handled internally. Professional help from firms like us becomes more relevant when your appeal was denied and you're not sure why. You're dealing with multiple policies areas at once, you lack required documentation, there are serious allegations such as fraud or deceptive conduct, or your account represents significant revenue and downtime is costly. In these situations, experience can make a meaningful difference in how the case is structured and presented. Section 3 suspensions are stressful, but they are often recoverable if handled properly. Understand the real cause, build a structured and accurate plan of action, support it with proper documentation, and strengthen your internal controls moving forward. If you're currently dealing with a Section 3 suspension and want a professional review of your situation, you can definitely reach out to us through the link below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.